Hi everybody. It has been a while since you've seen one of my videos, so I thought today was the day. Yesterday, my sister sent me an email about panpsychism. I'd never heard of that word, but what I researched it about is a theory that says that all matter has some form of consciousness. So we're going to talk today about consciousness. Let me just tell you a little bit about what I've been doing in my life lately. I'm currently in Redondo Beach, California, having a great time. Last summer, I worked at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. I worked a little bit in the Wellness Center and also did some readings for the guests there. I am going to travel there again this summer, so if you ever thought about taking a workshop there, I'll put the link below in the comments so that you can check that out. Consciousness, let's talk about that. After I received the email from my sister, she reminded me, and I was reminded of a time a few years ago where I spoke in a group reading with an inanimate object. And that's basically what this video is going to talk about. What has consciousness? Not just we as humans or animals, but also plants, the water, a chair, a house, a home does have a consciousness. So for my purposes, I am going to say what I view consciousness as. There's certainly a lot of information out there about other definitions, but for me, what consciousness means, and this is not about are you conscious when you're speaking with someone, are you aware and conscious of what's going on around you. This is about how I speak to a soul, myself as a medium, how I can speak to a soul. You hear a lot of people say about mediums that we talk to dead people. And yesterday I had the thought, I joke about it too, that I talk to dead people, but I don't really talk to dead people. I actually talk to a living and breathing soul. In my head, what I see is energy. What I see is the soul of someone. Now that soul can either be crossed into the non-physical world, or it could still be here in spirit world, in the physical world. I recently gave a reading for someone whose brother came in, whose wife came in, the mother of the wife came in, the father of the mother came into a reading, and they were all in the physical realm. We went through that and we figured out what they were attempting to say to her through me. So again, I don't just see and read people who are in the non-physical world. I see the consciousness of souls, whether they're in the non-physical world or in the physical world. So when I did that reading, there were certainly a lot of questions to my client. Why are your brother, his wife, her mother, and her father showing up in this reading? Now, she'll do her work around that, but I make sure I give priority attention to those souls, those consciousnesses that come into my head when I'm giving a reading. Souls. So you are a soul. I just don't read dead people. I read souls. If I'm speaking to perhaps one of my spirit guides, we'll say Abraham Lincoln, I'm not reading Abraham Lincoln. I am speaking to the soul who was Abraham Lincoln. And he doesn't usually want to talk about the Civil War. He's made some comments, but he wants to talk about passion. He wants to talk about more intimate things with me, more feeling things with me. So that's one of the hardest things for people to understand, that I'm not just reading their mother, their father. I am reading the soul that played the role as a mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your loved one, even your animal, your pet. I'm reading the soul. Now, sometimes they choose to come to me as that individual. Sure, absolutely, if that's what you need to hear. But other times I am reading the soul and that soul's journey. So to me, consciousness means, in this context, we can have other discussions about another form of consciousness. But to me, consciousness means that everything can be read. I can speak to many things. Does consciousness come from above? Does consciousness come from below? Do all of us revolve in consciousness? Are we the same consciousness? We can talk about that forever too, but not today. Today I'm going to talk to you about a few readings that I did where I spoke to inanimate objects. You ready? If you're not ready for this, you're going to shut this off. You would have shut it off already, but we're going to go there, right? You know I'm known for going there. I'm going to go there, and we're going to talk about a couple of readings that I did. They were in public forums, so I was doing a group reading. Let me tell you the first one I did, which was just last summer. We'll call this the third one, actually, because I have two other stories, but they came prior to this one. Last summer, I was doing a reading for an individual at Omega, and her car came through. Now, let me just tell you, first and foremost, I always ask my clients if I can share anything that I learn or that I hear in a reading, and she said yes. So her car comes through and begins to talk to me. A car that she had, we'll say 10 to 15 years prior to her sitting in front of me. And she loved that car, and that car loved her. So I'm speaking to the car. Now, I first thought, as a medium, is it one of her spirit guides showing me the car? But I know in my head that wasn't it. I was actually speaking to the consciousness of that car. And I talked for a while with that car. We talked about how it was always breaking down. I think I even said the color and where she parked it. I mean, there were a lot of things that were confirming for this woman that I was speaking to her car. So that was exciting. And what did it feel like for me, you might be asking? Really, I just had the shape of the car in my head. And just like me reading another soul in the non-physical world, I don't know where that car was at that point, but just like reading any other soul in the non-physical world, I was feeling the energy of that car, and the words were coming to me just out of my mouth as the car. So that was interesting. So let me jump backwards now. I was doing a group reading in, I think it was Connecticut, and all of these women, there was probably about 7 women present. They were all friends. So it's always fun. I always say, even though this is Vegas, what happens here stays here. Again, they all agree. If I want to share anything that comes up, they all agree that was okay. But Spirit's going to call you out. So if there's anything anybody's hiding right now or doesn't want to come out, I suggest you bow out of this reading right now. But they all agreed to stay in the reading. So I'm just seeing what's coming in. I'm not specifically guided to any person at this point. I'm just seeing what's coming through. So what comes through first is I'm seeing someone weeding their garden. And I begin to speak as the weeds that this person was weeding. She's sitting in her garden and she's pulling up the weeds. So Donna says, is there someone here that yesterday just weeded their garden? And a woman raises her hands and said, yeah, that was me. I said, great. Well, this may freak you out a little bit, but hang in there with me. I am speaking to the weeds that you weeded. And most of these women knew me or knew the person who put on the event, so they were all going with it. I was happy about that. So the weeds were saying to me, it's okay that we got weeded from your garden. We're not holding that against you. Really, we aren't. We're okay with that, because the woman was starting to feel bad. Oh my gosh, should I have not plucked those weeds? So it was rather funny. So I said to her, okay, it wasn't just the fact that you weeded them, but you threw them behind you and then something else happened to them. Would that be correct? And she said, yes. What I did after I weeded them is I threw them on the lawn, and then my husband ran over them with the riding lawnmower. So he continued to mulch them into the ground. And again, I said to her, look, they're not angry at this. They're not anything. They're just saying maybe a more conscious way to weed your garden would be to compost them or to put them in a pile so that they compost by themselves naturally. You don't necessarily have to use them as compost, but maybe a kinder way to get rid of them. Or I said, you could also speak to them now and say, I apologize, whatever, speak something to them. Okay, second one, that was where I spoke. Now, some people say, and I would agree, that plants are living beings, right? They take in water. They need the sun to grow. All you science geeks out there, you know what that means. So they are conscious. To me, if I can speak to them, if they have something to say, they to me are conscious. Now, I've spoken to plants. I've also spoken to trees. A wonderful tree in Central Park in New York had a great conversation with me. So I am speaking to those living things. Not all of them have something to say, but if they're open to speak, I'm going to be right there and share their message and allow them to speak to me. So those weeds, I said, I'm definitely going to share your message. And that was fun. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you the first time that I read an inanimate object. Now, this wasn't a plant, and this wasn't a car, and this was way before the plant and the car came in. So when I did this, it changed my whole beliefs on this table that I'm sitting on has, to me, a soul, has a consciousness. Is it a bunch of consciousnesses rolled into one? I really don't know. All I know is when I spoke to these inanimate objects, they all spoke as one consciousness, one phrase in my head, one person speaking, one soul speaking to me. So the first time that happened, it was at least 4 years ago. It was at the beginning of my work as a medium, and I did a group reading. There were at least 15 there, and I'll say at least 10 of them knew each other. They were all girlfriends. It was a fabulous day. So I go through a couple things, whatever was coming up into my head, and then all of a sudden in my head, I see a wooden snowman. You know, the kind you put out on the lawn or the kind you put out by your fireplace, a wooden snowman. Now, all of this is going on in my head before I even speak anything to the women, but it's happening instantaneous in my head. A lot's happening. I'm speaking to the wooden snowman. I'm asking, who the heck are you? So the first thing I say to the women, I said, does someone here, did they put up a wooden snowman just recently for Christmas? And I think this was almost the end of February when I did this reading. Did someone have a love of a wooden snowman? Because I was feeling an attachment to this wooden snowman. This wooden snowman was showing me some sort of love. So I said, does someone here have an attachment to a wooden snowman? Well, at least 8 of those women all start laughing and pointing to this other woman. So I'm thinking I hit the nail on the head here. Now, let me tell you, you don't know what it took for me to even say that. But Spirit, when they want something said, I have to say it. So I took a chance. So everybody starts laughing. And in my head, I'm seeing the wooden snowman do this like holding a cell phone and do this like you're scrolling through pictures. So I say, does someone here have a picture of this wooden snowman? And a woman to the left of me says, I have it on my phone. and I'm trying to spit out everything the wooden snowman is saying. So while she's looking at her phone to find the picture, I'm speaking directly to the woman now who has the wooden snowman. So I'm saying, okay, I'm speaking to this wooden snowman. There was a picture that was taken, and in this picture, he's facing a different direction, like you guys aren't really looking at him, but you're looking at the camera and he's facing a different direction, and she's saying yes. And I'm saying, so he tells me his name is Maximilian, but you can call him Max. We all laugh at that, and we start calling him Max now. In the meantime, this woman over here gets the picture up on her phone. Apparently, the woman who owned the wooden snowman sent this picture around because it was her family Christmas picture. So she shows me the picture, and sure enough, in the picture is the woman's family and the wooden snowman sitting in front, facing not really close, not the camera, facing the opposite way, just like I saw it in my head. Okay. So the woman asked me, oh my gosh, was he mad that I did that? And I said, no, not mad at all. So I asked now, in my head, I'm seeing the wooden snowman do this with his mouth. So I say to the woman, this is how it comes to me. I say to the woman, why would Max be doing this to me? And she gets this horrified look on her face. And I went, it's okay. And she said, because I just put him back in his box. I just packed him back up. She said, should I let him out? Should I bring him back out? And she said, no. I said, no, it's okay. He's okay with having the picture. Do you have this picture on your mantle? And she said, yes, I do. And I said, when he was present at Christmas time, when you came in the house, did you always speak to him? And she said, yes, I did. So Donna is trying not to go, holy crap, are you kidding me? But I'm trying to stay present with this woman and just affirm that and reaffirm that everything's okay. So she's like all anxious now. Should I take him out of the box? And he says to me, no, he's fine in the box. He's fine with coming out every Christmas. But just know now, call him Max. You can speak to him still because his energy, his consciousness is still now in the home. I'm going to give you a minute to process that one because it took all of us a minute to process that one. Okay, so you want to ask again, what is consciousness? I'm going to continue to say that everything has a consciousness. When my cousin and I were attempting to sell their home, we spoke to the house as a consciousness. We asked it what it needed. We asked it to sell if that was the one thing. We asked if anything was holding it back from selling to show us. So we made a conscious decision to speak with the home. So what's in your life right now that you can speak more consciously to? Do you get mad at your car? Your car is a consciousness. Some people name their car. I did. I named my car, I named my motorcycle, my daughter named her car. We always spoke to it. Well, now you know, even though you may not be able to hear it, it is listening to you. Just as like you speak to your animals. They're listening also. Sometimes what I suggest to people who say, my dog doesn't listen to me. I say, well, stop speaking out loud and speak in your head. When you're speaking to your animal, get down on their level. Lay down on the ground with them. Sit with them, eye to eye, and speak to them in your head instead of out loud. Somebody out there, their refrigerator isn't working. I just heard from a refrigerator. Somebody who's watching this or will watch this down the road is having trouble with their refrigerator. It's not working. And you keep trying to make it small fixes. And the refrigerator is saying to me right now, look, just buy a new refrigerator. All right, that was a side note. Sorry, refrigerator wanted to speak. I went there. All right, so I'm going to put in the links below here my new email, all of my new blogs that I started over the past summer. I had some very interesting entity that popped up at Omega. So if you want to go there, you're going to read that one. Please share this video if it resonated with you. If you made it to the end, give me a like button, make a comment at the bottom. I always love comments. And if you want to email me with any other questions about this, you can send me an email. I'll put that down there. New website I have, evolutionforyoursoul.wordpress.com. I think that's all I wanted to say about consciousness. I am going to, in the next week or so, make another video on past lives. I haven't gone there yet, and I have a lot to say about past lives. Let me promote a little bit more about what I do. I give readings via Skype, via FaceTime. You can do via phone also. All the rates are on my website under readings. You can also do quick messages from Spirit. You can send me an email stating you want a quick message from Spirit, and I would send that back to you through an email. It's a little less expensive way to have a little message from Spirit if you'd like that. You would just send me your name or a question you would like Spirit to answer. We can talk about that via email too. It's also listed on my website. That's about it. I hope to hear from you, and we'll see you next time when I post my next video. Take care, everybody. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I talk a lot about a lot of things on all my social media. Take care, and maybe I will see you at Omega. Bye now.